Hey everyone, I appreciate you checking out this video. This is the completed Ford 302 rebuild to go on my IMCA modified. Pretty much this video is going to be covering my heads and my cam and all of my top end stuff pretty much. It took a while to get this done because I was waiting 2 months, greater than 2 months for my cam, and I was waiting about the same time for my heads just to get the pedestal mounts milled down and drilled and tapped for 7/16 rocker studs. I think that took a little bit too long, but anyways, we got it all together. We had a couple hiccups, like stuff I couldn't figure out until I had everything, but we're a week away from racing, literally to the day, 7 days, and I gotta get this motor in, we gotta break it in, that kind of thing. I don't think I'll attach a running video clip inside this video. You're going to have to go to another video just because I feel like this one's going to get really, really long. I don't remember what I exactly filmed because it's been so long between filmings. Just because, again, waiting on stuff. So, I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you stick it through this whole video. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. It has been freaking cold here in Florida. So last week we were like no crap in the 20s, teens. It was cold. It's kind of warmed up a little bit this week. So to get those GT40 heads, the pedestal mounts milled down about 30 thou and drilled and tapped for 7/16 studs is gonna run me 80 bucks. It's not bad. It's just I'm still freaking waiting on them. And I'm gonna port and polish them myself. And it seems to take normal guys about 12 hours to port and polish heads. Well, I'm not a normal guy. I'm a freaking amateur at this. So it's probably gonna take me 18 hours to do. And if I can only get out here about an hour a day or so, well, that's gonna take me a while. We don't have a while. The Clash on the Coast is like literally in a month. And I'm going to Utah for a week from February 3rd through the 10th. So I don't have a lot of time. I was really hoping to get those heads this weekend. I'm kind of upset that I didn't get them. And they're 2.5 hours away. So I can't just, go down the road and pick them up. It's like a trip to go get them. But whenever we do get them, it's going to be a lot of weird hours of the night out here working like now. I mean, right now it's 4 o'clock in the morning, but y'all don't know that. Just couldn't go back to sleep after the baby woke up. And so I'm like, screw it. We're going to come out here and get some work done and make some videos for y'all. All right, so yesterday was a really big day for me. We got the heads and cam that we have been waiting on for about 8 or 9 weeks. So these GT40s just needed their valves, the valve mounts milled down, drilled and tapped for 7/16 studs. So we can put our roller rockers on. I got some Scorpion rockers somewhere in the mass array of parts. 1.6 rockers. I got new springs from Bullet. These are like a triple spring. These look pretty good. Let me show you the numbers on them in case y'all are wondering. I think they're on a side, yeah, this side. So these are the numbers on it. If you want to pause the video, whatever. I need to verify our heights here. I know they sell different keepers to adjust spring height. If you're looking at them, the exhaust, the retainer is a little different, but I think the heights are a little different. Okay, I don't think Chevy and Mopar have to worry about this. I know Ford, you do, trying to get everything lined up right. But yeah, we got springs. Here's some lifters. We got solid lifters. No hydraulics because these are better suited for like a higher RPM flat tappet cam that we have to run. And here's the cam itself. I'm not going to show you the cam card because they sent me the wrong cam card. I'm still going to verify. I called Bullet today. I was kind of on the phone stressing about it. But the cam cards they sent me didn't make sense what they did. They were just duplicating a cam pretty much, making some small changes to one that I had. I want to measure this one and verify. But the lift is in between like 560 and 580 for the intake and exhaust. 102 lobe separation. Duration is about 230, 240 something. I'll get you the better specs when I get that cam card. They're going to email it to me. Other than that, everything's ready to go. So we got the bottom end ready. I mean, I was waiting on this freaking cam to really finish it because I can't put the oil pan on. I can't do the timing chain cover, timing chain, all that. We did put this other pump on. I milled down the bolt and the pump to get it to work. Had to make some changes to the oil pickup to get it to work. Had to cut it and lower it and re-tack it on. And let me tell you, this stuff, it's very thin. I was kind of running a little hot, but it'll hold, hopefully. We got about a 1/4 inch to an 1/8 inch in between there of pickup clearance from the oil pan. I think that's fine, especially with this 9-quart monstrosity. That thing's about the size of the engine block itself. I'm excited to get this cam in there so I can finish up this bottom end. All this next week, I took leave because we're going to Utah the following week. So I got 2 weeks of leave. This upcoming week, I'm porting and polishing these things. And I want this thing together. Now, I am going to have to figure out push rod lengths and order that while I'm gone. So my goal is to get this thing in the car before I leave. So pouring and polish these heads, that's going to take me about 12 to 18 hours. Assembling this isn't going to take me long. There's not a whole lot of clearances anymore besides, you know, the push rod stuff and getting the rocker arms aligned. But I literally have everything sitting here waiting on. All right, so it is now the next day. I don't want to start porting because I got to go to work here in a little bit. I don't want to get covered in all that crap. So we're going to start working on either, people call it back facing, back cutting these valves. So what you're doing is, what I'm trying to do is put a 30-degree cut. There's like a lip right here. So the air, this is my intake valve. The air is flowing, it hits this lip before it transfers to like your seat and then goes out in the cylinder well. So basically all you're doing is putting a 30-degree cut right here, just taking this lip down, and it helps flow numbers. Not the greatest, maybe it's 25% maximum, right? If you did it with, you know, proper machine work. But you could pick up like 5 CFM just taking this little ridge all the way around out. And all you do, chuck it up in a drill press, get a file, just rest it on there. Don't push it on there, just kind of take a little bit off at a time, and you'll get that 30-degree chamfer. So let me do it so I don't mess it up, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right. It'll focus. There we go. So you see I just took a little bit off. I didn't get into the actual seat of the valve. You just take a little bit off because there's a stock one. You can see that ridge. It's just smoothing it out just ever so slightly so it ain't catching any air. And this will improve your flow numbers just ever so slightly. I mean, if you're doing like me, like this is free horsepower. Like this could be 1, 2, 3 horsepower right here, but it's free, and it took me like 5-10 minutes to do this one valve. To get that across the motor, I'm fine with it, right? I'm trying to find every little bit of thing that I can do that's cheap or free to get horsepower out of this motor. So I've been hacking up bits of metal or bits of, you know, sanding disc or something. It's been in my nose, my loogies. So I had to bust these old COVID masks out. Surprised we still had them, but show you what I've been doing. All right, so working on gasket matching. This is a Fel Pro 1262 gasket. Just put my machinist blue on there. I used a scribe and I traced it out. So to install this gasket, you got these tabs you can bend over, so it's kind of where it needs to be. Removing the gasket, you can see where our scribe marks are. So we're going to port them out to these edges here. Real quick, just about done with this one. If you all are having a iron deficiency, just port heads and drink beer while you're doing it. I mean, this stuff is, oh yeah. They're looking nice though. So here's what the exhausts are looking like. Kind of got an airfoil shape to that valve boss. Left some texture in it. I guess you can call it by design to help atomize fuel. I could spend a couple more hours out here smoothing that out, but I don't want to get it smooth like my exhaust. Let me swap hands here. I ended up polishing the exhaust so that the airflow is really smooth outwards. I didn't go crazy deep, as y'all could tell, but I think this will help tremendously with flow numbers and everything. So, do I know what the flow numbers are? No. Will I ever know? Probably not. But I just know this is probably better than stock. In the chambers themselves, I just kind of rounded off this spark plug boss there, just so I don't create any hot spots. But other than that, these things are ready to go. Well, other than lapping my valves in. I got to lap all my valves back in and make sure those are squared away. This is what the ports ended up looking like after gasket matching. So the exhaust, I did not gasket match. I just opened them up a little bit. Got to clean them a little bit more. What is that in there? Oh, that's just leftover WD-40. Yep, we got to clean them up pretty good. Other than that, I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me shove one in the exhaust so you can see. I don't know. First set I've ever done. I've got about 8 hours into this one here. I don't think the next one's going to take me 8 hours. Maybe 6, if that. But I think they turned out looking pretty good. Yeah, I don't mind that. I had to blend that in a little bit. But yeah, let me do the other set. All right, so you can see on this valve, we just lapped it in. See that nice wide seat on there? I think it's pretty good. We didn't nick them at all porting it. I'm thinking we're looking pretty dang good. I mean, we've done these. We ain't done that one yet, so I don't know. First time ever doing it. All right, so this is what we were waiting on for the bottom, and this is a one-piece fuel eccentric. There's your part number. This was $135 for this freaking thing. So this one piece, here's the two piece, but this one piece allows you to have that dowel protruding out of your double roller to fit on here just like this. So then your bolt runs through there, and of course it's an eccentric. This is what your fuel pump rides on. This is what I needed if you have, or this is what I needed because I have this billet double roller timing chain setup. So goes on there like that. Man, 130 bucks for this just hunk of metal that's milled out. I feel like somebody could make that and sell it a lot cheaper. But I mean, at the end of the day, how many of these are they selling? Probably not a lot. So I guess earlier Fords needed this one. The fuel pump eccentric on different timing chains are offset, and then you have a two-piece. These things are like 20, 30 bucks. They make a lot of noise. They clank around. But anyways, we're doing it right. I didn't want that disintegrating and going down into my oil painting timing chain cover, messing up a lot of stuff. So we're going to assemble this, get the timing chain cover on, and keep pressing. I had to make a little customization to that washer to get it to work. But torqued down 45 foot-pounds and got her on. So we're getting some things test fitted, because if I learn one thing from this build, it's always test fit forward. Reason why I'm test fitting is because I had a brand new tube of Permatex. I cannot find it in this mess of a shop. I don't know. I'll come across it one of these days. Maybe get another one tomorrow morning. If y'all are building one of these, this ARP kit Save your money. Don't even buy it. There's the part number. 154-1504. So I read on some forums, and everyone agrees. You can only use, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts out of the, I think, 15 bolt kit. The rest of them don't even work, right? So, and everyone agrees. They've all tried to contact ARP, like, way too short there. This, you're like, oh, okay, this one will work. Nope, won't even reach there. Now, it's not a timing cover thing. It's not a water pump thing. I just think whoever made this kit, everyone equally agrees it's junk. Save your money. I have to reuse old bolts. These ain't the ones. I got some on sitting in the parts cleaner right now that I'm cleaning up. I've got to reuse old bolts. Now, my biggest pet peeve, I don't care about using old bolts. I mean, yeah, I don't want to, but these are 9/16. I think these are like 3/8, 5/16. So it sucks when you're doing maintenance and you got to keep swapping between sockets. I might just go through and replace them all with just the old bolts that I got, because that's how kind of picky I am. But I mean, I spent $30 or so on this stupid ARP kit, and you can't even use all the bolts. And ARP pretty much says, well, you can purchase other bolts. Well, I think they should just correct their issue. The other thing with these timing covers, they're all a little bit different depending on what year. This is where your dipstick's supposed to go. So we're gonna have to probably fill that with JB Weld or something. We don't need that on this. Don't know if I made a clip about it or not. But this KRC kit that I bought, again, another reason why I'm test fitting everything. This crank adapter is for a 3-bolt harmonic balancer, not a 4. It don't line up to nothing. So went ahead and splurged. I've returned the other one because these things aren't cheap. I returned the other one, hopped on Summit, got this one. Okay, this is a little bit better one. I think it's 160 bucks. But right there, SFI certified. So that is what you want there. It means it's safer than a stock standard one. There, I feel comfortable with that. That's 90 foot-pounds. So that sucker ain't coming off there. Hopefully. All right, so now we're going to work on installing what part of the KRC kit that we can install. This one being the water pump pulley. We're going to use a little bit of Loctite. I swear, y'all go on Amazon, buy this. This is like all the Loctite you'll ever need in your life. All right, so I know this video's timeline is going to be a little weird. It's because it has been weird. I've been waiting on stuff, and I make progress, and I find out I got to get stuff, and I got to wait on it again. We finally have our heads back for good. So what I had to have the machine shop do was cut the valve seat bases out to get proper spring heights. I don't think Chevrolet guys have to worry about this, but I know the exhausts for these heads specifically were different than the intakes, so they had to get modified, right, to get all your 1.80, I think is what the box was calling for. So it needed to be at 180, 135 pounds. Well, if you look at these springs, the inner spring is shorter. Well, I thought we were going to have to mill this base down, but turns out when you were to do that and you get to 1.80, you only have about 90, 95 pounds of seat pressure, which is not enough. So that's probably why Bullet sent me these springs, because when you do install it, 1.80, you know, compresses that second spring just a little bit, and now you got your seat pressure that you're looking for there, because this outer spring, it's nothing really. So that makes sense. The exhaust though on the valves, like the notches, they hold your keepers are different for the exhaust over the intake, so they had to account for that in all of these. So the other issue I had was one of these stud mounts. Wow, that one's actually, so is that one and that one. What the heck? I just not noticed that. These are all fine. What in the world? All right, so kind of find out that's from the machine shop, having these installed when they're cutting these. But why is it just those and not these? That's what's, so this one will thread on, but it's kind of tight. Yep, then it gets tight, really tight. I might have to chase that one. But believe it or not, these ones go on really good. God dang it. I mean, that's 100% on the machine shop there. Do I waste time and stuff trying to battle them? Man, look at those threads. This is freaking frustrating here. All right, so we're preparing to slap these on. So if you look, you can tell that there's a difference in the height of your retainers. That's because the way Ford's notches are on their exhaust valves is different. That's why you had to go through, mill down all these bases to get to that 1.80. So I just measured them to double check. You can kind of see that raised material on that spring seat. And this one's like more flush down. It's not off by a lot, but it's definitely noticeable when you're trying to get the same seat pressures. So I was going to put the stock GT40 springs on, but I'm really pressed for time. And I don't have the fitting for the spark plug with my like compression tester, my leak down test. The hose I used when I was like changing valve springs on the 602, I was trying the right fitting, and like I said, I'm really, really pressed for time. All right, so I just torqued it 35 foot-pounds, 55 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to torque it to the final torque spec, which is 70 foot-pounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the order. I'm using a 6-point, not a 12-point to do this. That does not feel amazing. All right. Heck yeah, I think Ford length is spot on. Yeah, cool. Well, I mean, I had no idea. And so I'm glad I checked. I'm still going to check the exhaust side. I just didn't know with this cam and these lifters if I needed something different. But I believe stock length, maybe just, you know, because this is at 6.91. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's check exhaust to verify. And let's get these things ordered so I can go to work. All right, so setting up these heads. Here's that part number for these retainers. If you need it, got these from, I think, Summit. This is what I was saying. So the reason why they didn't mill down this inner spring pedestal mount is because see how it sits lower in there? Well, once you get to your spring height, it pretty much gets you your seat pressure. Because without that in there, this thing's sitting fairly low. And that's pretty much to your compressed height and a little bit past to help get you that 135 pounds of seat pressure. So I mean, it makes sense. I thought you would have had to take that all the way down to the floor, but you don't. Not in this situation with these springs. Now, I don't know if double valve springs, if they're both all the same length, depending on manufacturer. I really have no idea. But also the keepers I'm using, here's a part number here. They do have adjustable keepers to move your spring heights around so you don't have to use the machine shop. Well, I thought I bought that, but with this part number here, these are all just standard. So I had to go use a machine shop. I didn't want to wait and order the wrong thing, and just machine shop is guaranteed. So they set the seat pressures, they checked them all, and everything looks good with the install heights. All right, so push rod length I think is spot on. Stock length rods is what you need for this specific scenario with this head decking, head height, and it just somehow worked out in my favor. So, all right, let's go through. We're gonna set rockers on, get these guide plates where they need to go with the rockers centered, lock tight everything down, smoke them down, we're good to go. All right, so I'm gonna call this thing just about done here. I forgot what I've recorded and what I hadn't, but anyways, the oil pan is on. That was giving me a little bit of a fuss. Motor mounts are on. Some front assembly stuff. My power steering pump mount's on. The intake is on. This fastener here in the ARP bolt kit was giving me a fuss. I had to use a longer one of the ones that I couldn't use here. I just stacked a bunch of washers on it. I don't know. We'll see if it leaks. but I think it'll be all right. Valve covers are just tip installed. Let me set this stuff down. I'll show you what we got going on in there. Now, putting on these guide plates and getting the valves lined up with the rockers was a pain. Like, that sucked. But they're on, they're torqued to 55 foot-pounds. I got some high temp thread locker on the stud mounts. So, I don't know. I just have to go through and set my lashing now. Just installing this stuff so no dirt gets in there or whatever. What I'm working on now, before I take it and put it on the cherry picker, put the rear main seal in and the flex plate on, I'm putting my plugs in where I need them. So definitely blocking off my water pump. We don't need these two. So I got a MPT plug kit, and these just pop right in. I'm going to use some of that ARP thread sealer on it. So my buddy Austin Cool made this for me. So pretty neat deal. Looks really, really slick. I have one for a Chevrolet that he made, one of like the first ones. And then this is like the first one for the Ford. Fits on just like so. And yeah, I've got the thread-in adapter just for a 1.5 inch slip style radiator hose, not an AN fitting or anything. But I think that's gonna work pretty dandy. I'm gonna do a 90 and then run it out to the radiator here to avoid the fan. We're gonna have to figure out what kind of hoses we're gonna do, what's setup wise, but that's a pretty slick piece there. So why am I draining the oil that I just put in it? So I have this in my hand. It's your oil pump drive shaft. Okay, I thought it went in through the top and you put your distributor in. No, you put this in and then your oil pump. So we gotta backtrack a lot, quite a bit. All right, so gonna end the video here. Didn't really film an outro. This video is kind of a pain in the butt to edit. I went down from like almost 2 hours of film down to about 30 minutes. Hopefully I left good content in there for you. I trimmed out a lot of what I thought wasn't really important stuff you could see in other videos or whatever, or find easily on forums. If you have any questions about doing this, let me know. So like I said, this is my budget build. The next build I'm going to do is going to be a 331 stroker kit. We'll see what this one does. So appreciate y'all watching. Look forward to some more racing videos, and we'll see how this thing holds up.